Trevor Noah is having an explosive meltdown over the historic backlash that The Little Mermaid trailer is currently experiencing. And as you can see here, it currently sits at 2.3 million downvotes compared to 960,000 upvotes. Now, of course, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to look at that and be like, oh my goodness, look at all these races. Well, I just want to ask a quick question before we move on to what Trevor Noah has to say. Where did all of these supposed racists, suddenly go when it comes to the Wakanda Forever trailer, the sequel to Black Panther, which has a ratio that is not only just completely opposite, but also like much, much better compared to Little Mermaid? It's almost like minorities being in these films, black people being in these films, isn't what the actual problem is that people have. But there's a huge majority of people out there, including people like Trevor Noah, including people like Disney, Hollywood, the media, whatever else, all of these different systems, establishments, and everything else, that aren't actually going to argue with us about what the actual problem is that we have. They don't want to listen to what our arguments are. They want to continue to gaslight us and make up their own narratives about why we don't like things like Little Mermaid. So we're going to get into this and see what Trevor Noah has to say here. Daily shows Trevor Noah destroys racist Little Mermaid haters. He destroys you. Are you guys ready to get destroyed by Trevor Noah? Oh my goodness. Okay, let's go ahead and get into this and see what he has to say here. We have the video, so let's go ahead and check this out. Let's see what Trevor Noah has to say.
Americans on the internet are at war about what's happening under the sea.
The new trailer for the live-action remake of The Little Mermaid already has more than 100 million views. While it's got a lot of fans, it is also being attacked by some internet trolls.
Attacked by internet trolls. See, this is the game that Hollywood likes to play. This is the game that not just Hollywood, but the media, everybody, the government wants to play, where they will vilify you if you do not line up with the narrative that they have preset for you. If you do not line up with the narrative, if you do not, ascribe to the message, to the agenda, then they will vilify you. They continue to do it time and time again, which is a massive, massive problem. It is a major problem when you have places like Hollywood, the media, and everything else continuing to vilify people simply because they have different opinions, because they don't like a mermaid movie for kids. And that's funny because these are the same people that will continue to say, all these people seriously have problems with a kid's movie about a mermaid? Get a job. You are literally also doing the same thing. You're having a problem with what we are saying about a little kid's movie. I mean, you're literally doing the exact same thing that we are. You're making a big deal out of a kid's movie, just on the opposite side of the spectrum. So let's go ahead and get into this and see what else Trevor Noah has to say.
Actress Halle Bailey stars as Ariel in Disney's new live-action film, and she looks nothing like the animated little...
And I'm just going to say this right now, okay? Literally, I don't think that there would be like anyone... Of course, there's going to be some exceptions, but I don't think there would be like literally anyone that would have a problem with this if it was like a Little Mermaid spin-off or another story about a black mermaid that took place in the universe of Little Mermaid. If this wasn't Ariel, if this was a new story about a mermaid that Disney made, the backlash wouldn't be here. But Disney loves the backlash. They love all the attention that they get from the media and everything else because of this, which is why they continue to use these stories that have already been established. They hijack these stories that have already been created in order to continue to push a certain narrative, in order to use it for identity politics, and then they use that identity politics as a shield from criticism when we are criticizing the crappy quality of these films, which is exactly what is happening with Rings of Power. Rings of Power is not a good show, guys. It is a terrible, terrible show. But if you say that, then they'll just go, you don't like it because there's black people in it, which isn't really what barely anyone has been criticizing the black people that are in Rings of Power. Most of the criticism, and I could show you like all the notes that I have about all of the episodes of Rings of Power so far, I literally don't even mention race whatsoever in any of the criticisms that I have with the show. But it is a very good indicator of the direction that all of these studios are going in whenever you see identity politics, because that shows that they don't actually care about the source material. They don't actually care about telling a good story based on the lore. The only thing that they care about are political agendas.
Little Mermaid with red hair from the original 1989 classic. The trailer has received more than 1.5 million dislikes on YouTube.
Good job, everyone.
The ugly, racist tweets. The Little
All right, so ugly, racist tweets.
Mermaid is white, not black.
Ugly, racist tweets like this one. The Little Mermaid is white, not black. That's seriously the best that CNN can come up with when it comes to ugly, racist tweets. Like an actual fact. Like what? Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Really, people? We're doing this again? Huh? She looks nothing like they both have the tail, huh? They both have the red. She looks nothing like her. How do I even know that she's a mermaid?
Once again, people don't actually have a problem with mermaids being black. That's not what the actual problem is here, but they don't actually care about what the argument is that people have or the problems that people have with this movie. But, you know, all of that aside, you know, it's funny because what he said here, oh, we're gonna do this again, really, people? Like it's so funny because it reminds me so much of the meme of people that like throw shit over the wall, you know what I mean? And then like the internet throws the shit back even more so, and then they're like, ah, I'm a victim, stop. That's what Hollywood reminds me of, because they continue to do this time and time again, where they continue to use identity politics in all these different ways for their movies. And then when we criticize it, they're like, really? You're going to criticize this again? Yeah, because you keep doing it.
Once again, a bunch of internet racists are upset that a fictional character is being played by a black person. And honestly, I don't know what the big deal is. You guys...
There isn't a big deal with people being played by black people. That's not what the problem is.
You guys realize that Nemo was black too, right? Yeah, that whole movie was about a fish who can't find his dad. Yeah. Calm down. I can say that because my dad left and he's white, so who's racist?
Okay, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good joke. But once again, this is not what the argument is. Trevor Noah is using a terrible, terrible argument for this because Nemo is an original character. If they actually had Nemo played by some black kid, or they made him black or whatever else, nobody would have a problem with it. Nobody had a problem with Coco, the Pixar film that was, you know, definitely not a white film. Nobody had a problem with Moana. Nobody had a problem with Encanto. I could go on and on and on with all of these different films coming from Disney, Pixar, whatever else that have minorities as the main cast, the stars of the film. And nobody has a problem with it. You can look at Rotten Tomatoes. Very, very good scores from audiences for those films. You can look at the trailers on YouTube. Very, very good scores. You can look at the box office reception. Very good for a lot of those films. Because I know, shocking, they're actually good films that are actually trying to tell a good story.
This is now.
So what makes the difference between something like that, something like Encanto, Moana, or Coco, whatever else, Soul? You know, you could go on and on. What's the difference between those films and The Little Mermaid? The Little Mermaid is already an established story that has been beloved by generations of people. That is what the difference is. Those are original stories. Little Mermaid is already an established story with its own lore and everything else.
So ridiculous. First of all, of course, the Little Mermaid is black, all right? Everyone whose name starts with Lil is black. Lil Wayne, Lil...
So anyway, so he goes on, you know, you get the picture. But yeah, he goes on with all of his different rants and everything else. And yeah, he's not actually dealing with the actual problems of what people have. So with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think about what Trevor Noah has to say here, and I'll talk to you all in another video very soon.